There and welcome back. This is part 2 of our stop in Detroit. We just came from the Joe Louis Arena and now we're heading off to Little Caesars Arena. Let's go. Hey there, welcome back to Rinks Around the League. I'm your host, Jeff Nash, and we're still in Detroit, Michigan, where we're going to visit Little Caesars Arena, the brand new home of the Detroit Red Wings. Construction of Little Caesars started on September 25th, 2014, and opened September 5th, 2017, at a whopping cost of $862 million. It was originally announced that the arena would cost $450 million, plus an additional $200 million for the surrounding district, bringing the total cost to $650 million. 285 of that total would be publicly funded, with $365 million coming via private funding. It was later on when it was announced that the cost had risen to $862.9 million. Its scoreboard measures 43.5 by 28 feet and is a seamless scoreboard. Its capacity is 19,515. Little Caesars will pay naming rights of around $6.25 million a year over 20 years, foregoing the chance to sell naming rights for a source of revenue. Little Caesars Arena is big, shiny, and it has all the bells and whistles. It has a lot to offer. The rink has a glass-covered concourse, and it kind of basically feels like a gigantic shopping mall with its open-air walkways and its stores and restaurants. So you can go and enjoy these things before going to a game. Then when the gates open, you walk right through and take your seats. So let's talk about that main concourse for a second. First off, the decorations and the attention to detail are second to none. They kept and installed the old Olympia marquee next to artwork of Gordie Howe. And throughout the main concourse, there's other artwork portraying R&B singers, NBA players. It's not just about hockey. Fitting in with Detroit's character, they have these replica steel manhole covers that kind of act like a walk of fame inside the main concourse. And like I mentioned in the previous episode, they moved those very impressive statues from the Joe into Little Caesars Arena. But the overall design is open air. It makes you feel comfortable, lots of room to move around. It's very impressive. They have a great team store that has everything you want in terms of merch. And inside that store, they have a mini store where they have the game-worn jerseys and other special memorabilia for the hardcore hockey fans. Through one of the main entrances, you can peer through the glass and see downtown Detroit. They have cars on the walls, they have interactive displays. It's just amazing. The level of detail carries through to the inside of the rink, and depending on when you get to the rink, you're greeted with an amazing view. The first thing that hits you when you enter in the lower bowl is the roof. The roof lights up. And in my opinion, it's one of the most groundbreaking visual elements that exists inside of an NHL facility. These LED lit panels can change color and during the anthem can switch to become an American flag. It's just simply stunning. The second thing you'll notice is the seamless scoreboard. When I first heard about this, I didn't know how that would work, having the edges of the screen come up right against each other. But after seeing it in person, it's really effective. It's very modern and sleek looking. Next come the red seats, which is a bold statement and a tradition that they took from the Joe Louis Arena and put it inside Little Caesars. And what? They're changing the colors of them? Black? More about that later. Then there are the gondolas. These are essentially massive skyboxes, media and broadcast sections suspended from the ceiling. In my opinion, media boxes should be always catwalks or gondolas. They separate you from the crowd and they give you the ultimate viewing perspective. And what I thought was really cool is they treat fans to that same ultimate viewing perspective. On the ends of the rinks, they have these large bars/clubs that can get very crowded during the game. And another cool thing is that they have a pretty fancy organ, and when I was there, they just installed it and it debuted that night. Now back to that roof, they've put a modern twist on those championship banners. In the Joe, they just hung statically, but in Little Caesars, they remotely roll up and can be hidden from view. Down below on event level, they have some very polished and very high-class lounges, restaurants, and bars. The level of detail and the cost associated makes this palace tops in the league. I can go on and on about this rink. The level of detail is off the charts, but you're gonna have to see it for yourself. If it's not on your list of hockey rinks to visit, make sure it's on the top of your list. Now, you've heard me glow about this rink from top to bottom. Is there anything I don't like about this rink? there are a couple things. Remember when I said I'd come back to the colors of those seats? That's because this season they decided to swap out the colors from red seats to black seats, at least in the lower bowl. Why, you ask? Optics. Little Caesars Arena has been having issues attracting full crowds, and bright red chairs that are empty show up on the TV and broadcast. So the idea was disguising the empty seats by making them black. Most brand new modern rinks take a few years to add things to give it character. But Little Caesars Arena has so much character right off the hop, including those red seats. And you change some of it because of optics? Wouldn't that money being used to replace all those seats be better suited to promote the team or lower ticket prices? I don't know. The other thing I think they really missed the mark on is the name of the rink. Joe Louis Arena had a ton of character inside its walls, and its name also paid homage to Detroit's rich history. Joe Louis was one of the last standing rinks with no corporate entity attached to it. No offense to Little Caesars and Mr. Illich's ties to the franchise, but I think they really missed an opportunity to pay homage to one of the most influential men in Detroit history. The Illich Arena, to me, has more resonance, meaning, and class than calling it Little Caesars Arena. But hey, that's just my opinion. But fans out there in Detroit, what do you like about your brand new rink? Those who have been to both the Joe and the Little Caesars, tell me the pros and cons of both. I would love to hear your thoughts and comments. Well, that does it for our stop in Detroit. On our next episode, we're having yet another special episode where we're gonna visit both Rexall Place and Rogers Place in Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. As always, follow me on Twitter and Instagram at _the_rinks, on Facebook at the Rinks, and on YouTube at Rinks Around the League. Hit subscribe and ring that bell. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.
2, 1, action! Okay.
And speaking of octopus, what was my line?
Out! Out!
And speaking of octopus, try again. No, wait to my line.
Oh, okay.
And speaking of octopus,
Oh.
too late. Ready? And speaking of octopus, it became an messed up. Here we go. Ready?
How did they get the live octopus?
Where?
And why did they throw live octopus? And why can't they just throw stuffies on the ice?
That's a good question.